/ the deep dark of night gave way, and a new sun rose over the capital. The Prime Minister looked up at the throne, and something lit in his eyes, a brightness that seemed almost too keen for a man of his age. The Crown Prince's curly hair had been drawn back simply, leaving his broad forehead clear. His golden eyes were steady and direct. Anyone looking at him could see that he was not entirely comfortable sitting there. He made no attempt to hide it. His Majesty's illness is more advanced than we understood. The royal physician has concluded that he is no longer capable of conducting affairs of state. The commander of the Imperial Palace Guard, standing at the back of the hall, dipped his head toward the three dukes and the Prime Minister watching him, then gave his report. That is correct. His Majesty the Emperor has been found to be suffering from recurring memory loss and is deemed unfit to govern. However, despite the severity of his condition, His Majesty continues to refuse all treatment. The Prime Minister's face fell as he listened. He had sensed that something was wrong with the Emperor for some time, but he had never imagined the illness had been concealed to this degree. That is why I intend to assume the regency, the Crown Prince said. If anyone has an objection, please speak freely. I fully support the sound judgment of His Highness the Crown Prince. The Prime Minister was first. As do I. The Eastern Duchess Edina inclined her head. As do I. The Southern Duke Smith followed. The Crown Prince's gaze moved across each of them, and settled last on the Duke of the West, who had been standing in silence, still as a column. After a moment, Gerard moved his lips. I support His Highness the Crown Prince. Thank you, all of you. I am inexperienced, and I will not pretend otherwise, but I will do everything within my ability from this day forward. The Crown Prince paused briefly. My first matter concerns Western trade. The disruption has touched every corner of this empire. Duke of the West, I will issue a formal apology regarding your fiancé. In light of that, I ask that you reconsider the announcement. As you wish, Your Highness. Good. Ah, yes, of course. The Prime Minister cleared his throat and began to present, one by one, the many matters the Emperor had allowed to accumulate untouched while he indulged himself in other concerns. The imperial family issued an official announcement. The Crown Prince would assume the regency in light of the Emperor's illness. A formal apology was extended for the false accusation of witchcraft leveled at Miss Marin Schwenz, fiancée of the Duke of the West, with the declaration that she was and had always been an ordinary noblewoman of good standing. Simultaneously, the Duke of the West withdrew his announcement regarding Western trade. The capital hummed with the speed of it all. Successive pieces of news broke across the city like waves, and people moved through their days with a new feeling, something between anticipation and cautious relief. The Crown Prince, now regent, moved quickly. Affairs that had been ignored or buried for months were addressed and resolved in a matter of days. Those who had long doubted the Crown Prince began, quietly, to revise their opinion. Everyone, that is, except one person. / The Emperor hurled everything on the table across the room, water bottles, decorative pieces, a candlestick, and still the fury in his chest did not ease. When a servant opened the door to check on him, a vase flew past the doorframe and shattered on the marble floor with a sharp crack. The servant froze in the doorway. How dare you open that door without my permission? The servant bowed deeply with a weary, pained expression. I greet Your Majesty the Emperor. Your Majesty, it is time for your examination. Please, for your health, stop speaking nonsense and get out. The Emperor cut him off and hurled a porcelain teacup in his direction. The servant flinched and went still. He had grown numb to this. Every day the same thing, the same fury, the same broken objects. He was about to close the door and leave when the Emperor's sharp voice stopped him. Why have I not seen the butler? The servant's expression shifted instantly. That morning, the butler had been found in his room, cold, still, already gone. A note left behind stated plainly that he was paying with his life for the sin of having failed in his duty to the emperor. He had always been that kind of man, and careful, precise in his sense of responsibility, attentive to those beneath him. No one who had known him could understand how it had come to this. The butler passed away yesterday. By his own hand. What? The emperor's eyes went wide. Something moved across his face, his lips pressed together, then trembled slightly. Was it because of the crown prince? No, your majesty. It was a choice the butler made himself. The servant answered quickly, honestly. That cannot be. There is no world in which the butler would do such a thing on his own. The crown prince planned it, he arranged everything to have him killed. The emperor turned his gaze to the distant mountains beyond the window and spoke with flat certainty. The servant could find nothing left to say. He bowed his head and withdrew. / A week passed in the villa. No matter how loudly the emperor raged, no matter how desperately he struggled, the doors did not open. No one came looking for him, only the palace staff, doing what duty required of them and nothing more. The isolation was wearing at him, slowly, steadily, like water wearing at stone. The absolute conviction that he would reclaim the throne was beginning to develop hairline cracks. Your Majesty. The emperor had been lying on the sofa, a tired and hollow look on his face. He lifted his head at the voice. Through the open door of the sitting room, he saw a face he had been missing badly. Seventh Empress. Something warm flooded the emperor's golden eyes. I have come to attend to you from now on. Of course you have, you're the only one. Not a single other empress has come to see me. Ira smiled brightly and looked around the room. Broken vases. Books splayed across the floor. Fine tea were in pieces. The room looked like the aftermath of a small war. It's quite a state in here. I'll have it cleaned up right away. Fine. The emperor closed his eyes, pressing his fingers between his brows. Fatigue was carved into every line of his face. Is your head hurting again? Don't. His eyes snapped open. He looked at her with a warning expression. Don't say that so carelessly. That traitor is already using my illness as justification to play regent. If word gets out that my head aches, people will believe I'm genuinely unwell. The emperor must appear strong if I am to return to my position quickly. Ira tilted her head with an expression of perfect innocence. Your Majesty, do you truly believe it is possible to return to your position? Think about it. I am healthy. How long can they hold me here on the pretext of illness? Once suspicion takes root among the people, it will spread. And suspicion becomes the spark that burns the traitor to the ground. The anxiety left his face. His golden eyes sharpened with an old familiar light. But your Majesty dismissed the court physician. Who will attest to your health? My word is law. If the emperor declares it, it is so. Who requires proof beyond that? You really do believe you can do whatever you wish? Ira's eyes danced with mischief. Despite the boldness of it, the emperor looked at her with nothing but warmth. Do you know that you are the only living person who has ever said something like that to the emperor's face? Of course. Because your Majesty cares for me. Ira smiled with easy confidence. The emperor laughed, a real laugh, loose and unguarded. Yes, yes. I think I can breathe a little now that you're here. I will look after you until I close my eyes beside you. That long? Why? Her head turned, her tone suddenly edged with mock jealousy. Are you truly thinking of bringing another empress? The emperor was delighted. You are both insufferable and wonderful at the same time. I'm glad you're feeling better. I've prepared tea, not for headaches, just something to help you sleep. You mentioned you haven't been resting well. Ira spoke as if she had simply remembered a practical detail, her tone light and attentive. The emperor smiled, genuinely pleased. I haven't slept properly since they locked me in here. That will be welcome. Ira smiled softly and rose to prepare the tea herself. Where is your maid? I came ahead because I wanted to see your majesty quickly. She'll follow with my things shortly. Good. Make the tea quickly. Yes, your majesty. Ira left the sitting room with her brightest smile. / 1 month later. His golden eyes had grown dark and clouded. He watched everything around him with the constant, restless wariness of a trapped animal. The fullness had gone from his face, his cheeks were hollow, the flesh sunken. Beneath his eyes, deep shadows had taken up permanent residence. The emperor had stopped eating well. He had grown worse, fiercer, more volatile, more unpredictable. The vase he threw shattered, and a shard caught Ira across the cheek. A thin red line appeared on her skin. Blood followed, welling up quickly. Your Majesty. Camellia rushed forward, pressing a handkerchief gently to the cut. I'm fine. Ira pushed Camellia aside with a light hand and said it without any particular expression. The emperor was gnawing at his thumbnail, eyes darting around the room. Eventually they found Ira. Why were you standing there?